Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. I hope you're all staying safe. Now, myself being a massive Star Wars fan, of course I've watched The Mandalorian and it was fantastic. And when I saw that a run of these was going on the RPF, I had to get involved. This is a lovely replica of a Beskar ingot from The Mandalorian. This one has been milled out of aluminium and it's got some fantastic etched details in there to give it this lovely texture. You can see there. It's got the lovely slots on the back and the Imperial crest on the front, and it's really heavy. Like I said, it is aluminium and it just feels legit. I'll leave a link to the run below, although I do think it's sold out now. And yeah, not long ago I received this finally in mail, and as you can see, it's a great prop and I'd happily display this as is. But of course I feel like we can go in and improve it a little bit. So what I'm going to be doing is going in and working on this to make it look a bit more like how the ingots appear in the show. And how I'm going to do that is with some aluminium black. Now this is a chemical that you can use to treat aluminium to make it darker. It's the same thing you do for gun bluing if you were to change the color of metal on guns. I've got a little bit of experience doing this, so it shouldn't be too difficult. It is a chemical, it is dangerous, and it does change it's a chemical reaction that happens on the outside of the metal. So we do have to be very careful, but it shouldn't be too difficult to get a nice finish on here. My plan is to apply it to the whole ingot itself, and then we should be able to just very lightly take away the top surface because it is etched down. I'll sand incredibly lightly and we should get a lovely contrast to show between all these lines. So this is a lovely little exercise in finishing and should be a lovely way to spend the afternoon. So let's go. Before I get started with the actual bluing process, we've got to make sure this thing is clean and free of grease. I've been touching it, I'm sure other people have been touching it. It'll be covered in like just oils from my skin. So I'm going to be using this cleaner degreaser just to clean them up before we do the bluing. I use the Birchwood Casey version. Any regular cleaner or degreaser will do. You can use isopropyl alcohol, anything like that, just to get things nice and clean and prepped for the treatment. So I'm all set up outside. Of course, I've got my gloves on. Now, we don't want to get any oils onto this. Definitely once we've cleaned it with a degreaser, and then we definitely don't want to get any of the aluminium black on my skin, so gloves are very important. I've also got my respirator for when I'm using the blacking because it is a chemical. It does give off things when it reacts with the metal, so we definitely want to have the respirator on. Other than that, all I need is a disposable brush to apply the aluminium black, and we're just going to clean with some cotton wool. So let's get started. Now this is a chemical reaction. The metal and the liquid gets warm to the touch. It's important to keep the blacking moving over. If it starts to pool, you'll start to get sort of a heavy reaction, which will be a different colour. But this is taken really, really nicely. There we go, as you can see it's turned this lovely deep black colour. I didn't leave it in there too long, so this is only just on the surface. I think it will scratch off if you go too heavy on it, but of course that's what we want. We're going to start sanding away and reveal some of this texture. So there we are, all blackened with that aluminium black. Now I'm just going to go in very gently with the 2000 grit, sanding flat on here, and hopefully we can just bring out those highlights. If it should go wrong, we should be able to do it again, but this should be fine, just to get that contrast that I want. It's important to do this on a very flat surface, just so we don't get any weird lines sanded in there. But oh, look at that. Oh, it looks just like layered steel, which is what the ingots were made to look after. Oh, I'm so happy. Okay. I'm really happy with that. I think I've taken it as far as I want to. It's started to remove some of the bits lower down where the surface is a bit uneven, but I think that looks really nice and natural. Now the final step is to just use some aluminium polish. This should just give it a nice shine, and that should be our final treatment. So there we are, there is the ingot all finished. Now this didn't exactly go to plan. When I started using the Mother's Mag polish, it actually started taking up all the finish, much more than I thought it would. So what I ended up doing was taking it up to the mop and giving it a polish. Believe it or not, that was much less abrasive on the finish, but I've taken the finish mostly all the way back, but it's just left enough to actually pick up all those lines quite nicely, and it actually looks way more like Damascus steel actually does, because it's much more subtle of a line differentiation between all this. I'm really happy with the finish. Yeah, it is by no means perfect, but yeah, there's still some of that finish left in there to give a little bit of contrast here and there. You can see the actual recessed layer is actually a little bit more pitted, and then the top layer is more polished because of that sandpaper. And yeah, I think that really sells as a Beskar ingot. So there we go. I hope you enjoyed watching this little afternoon project. I had fun trying bluing again. That does look great down there, doesn't it? Do stay safe, and of course I will see you guys in the next video. So until then, bye bye.